So in the STEM design process, after you have identified your problem and learned everything you can about it in your investigate step, and then interpreted to come up with your real problem statement that you're going to try to solve, you're going to ideate. And during the ideate stage, you're brainstorming creative responses to your solution. You need to find a way to objectively choose what solution is going to be the most effective for your audience. For that, we're going to use a decision matrix. And you may have come across a decision matrix in an engineering class. The goal of one is to help you objectively compare two ideas. So in our case, it's going to be the solutions you brainstormed against the principles to which your solution should align. In the interpret step, remember, you brainstormed those principles, and they were the adjectives and the nouns that should describe what the solution should be like for your user. So here's an example that we're going to go through in this video. This is an interpret statement. My 1-year-old needs a way to go to sleep on her own because I learned that when she doesn't go to sleep smoothly, she wakes up super early. And this is totally true. All 3 of my kids, if they lay down and they go right to sleep and they go to sleep nice and early, they sleep much better and much longer than if they have a really hard time going to sleep at night. So my 1-year-old, she's got to get in line with the others. She's got to go to sleep smoothly. So this is a decision matrix. It's just a chart. And you're going to put your principles across the top. They're going to be the headers of your columns. And you're going to put ideas kind of down the side over here. So these are some of the principles that I pulled out to help with this statement. Whatever gets created needs to be comforting because little kids like things that are comfortable. It helps calm them and soothe them and, make them sleepy. Principle number 2 needs to be safe because it's going to be used at bedtime. So it's going to be used in the crib with her when she's unsupervised. And there's lots of terrifying statistics about SIDS, which is an instance where babies and small children die from unknown causes at night. There's so many terrifying things about the temperature you should have the room and should you have fans on for circulation and on and on and on. So whatever gets used needs to be safe. Needs to be a routine, number 3, because I have just observed with my kids, and science will tell you that children really respond to routine. It helps cue them into transitions between activities and just helps their day go more smoothly. And then number 4 needs to be calming. And that kind of goes with comforting, except calming kind of leads them towards, sleep. Comforting may just, chill them out. Calming helps them mellow. So those are my 4 principles that I think are the most important to solve this problem. They go across the top. Down over here, these are my ideas. So I brainstormed 3 ideas, and these probably already exist as products. This is just to demonstrate how you do the decision matrix. I'm not trying to be crazy creative and outside the box. So one idea I had is a nightlight that both plays soft music and has soft lighting to help calm them and soothe them. Idea 2 is a special blanket that is scented, like sleep-inducing things like lavender. And then idea 3 is a tent that can go over the crib at bedtime, like the canary effect with birds where you put something over their cage and it tells them it's bedtime. So those are my ideas. The first thing you're going to do is take an idea and analyze it against each principle. So this is what that looks like. Take idea 1, analyzing it against this comforting concept. I think that this concept here could be comforting because sound and light might make the kid feel like they're not alone. Okay? Then, looking over here, the second principle, it being safe. It would probably be safe because it would be outside of the crib. It wouldn't be inside the crib, so there's no suffocation, nightmare happening. Probably safe. Then principle 3, routine. It would be routine if it was played nightly. As a parent, you would have to be really consistent about, always playing it on the same light and the same music because kids know the difference. And then the 4th principle, calming. It could be calming or it could stimulate the kid if the music and lights aren't right. And it also depends on the kid. For example, my oldest child, she's 6 now, her bedroom kind of looks like my classroom with Christmas lights everywhere because she needs light to sleep. It helps her feel calm. Whereas my 4-year-old son, he likes pitch blackness and the poor children have to share a room. He likes complete sensory deprivation when he sleeps. So that would be one of the things that would kind of depend on the kid. If the music and the lights aren't right for that kid, it could stimulate them rather than calm them down. So I've analyzed an idea all the way across against each. Then you repeat that for idea 2 and idea 3. So idea 2, how about the comfort thing? It would probably be comforting because a blanket is soft, so it would work well for that principle. But for safety, though, kind of less safe. Pediatricians really recommend that nothing goes in the crib, even at a year old. because there's just issues with strangulation, suffocation, terrifying things you don't want to wake up to in the morning, so they still say, like, nothing in the crib. Looking with idea 2 against it being routine. It would be routine, but only if it was used at sleep times, not all comfort times. It's kind of hard with kids if there's something that comforts them to only to resist using it whenever they're upset and only use it at bedtime. So that could kind of be a gray area. And then against principle 4, I think it would definitely be calming, especially if it's scented. There's a lot of evidence about different scents calming and soothing and telling your brain and your body that it's time to go to sleep. So I think that would be good. Then you look at idea 3, and you may have more ideas when you do yours, but I just did 3 for the sake of this. Idea 3, the whole tent canary thing. In terms of comfort, it would be somewhat comforting, I think. Could be sensory deprivation-esque, but, some kids might like that. I think my 4-year-old, he would have enjoyed that because he doesn't like lights and stuff. My 6-year-old probably would have lost her mind, but he would have liked it. Safety, I mean, it's not like in the crib, but, if depending on how it's encasing the crib, could it limit airflow? Would that overheat the kid? Kind of a gray area. Routine, again, it would be routine if it was only used at sleep time, so you wouldn't want to put the kid in their crib for timeout and put that on them to calm them down. And then for calming, again, I think some kids could be really calmed by it, or they could be made claustrophobic, one or the other. So you can see I've analyzed every idea against every constraint, and you can see going across, some ideas are great for these principles, and others, maybe not. So here's your next step. You are going to rank them. And if you've used the decision matrix with Project Lead the Way Engineering, they do rating. We're going to do ranking. Here's the difference. In rating, you're giving it a score, like a 1 through 5, okay? But what if every idea gets a 1? How do you distinguish them? In ranking, you're giving them a rank from a 1, being good, it got the smiley face, to, say if you have 3 ideas, it's to a 3, it gets the sad face. If you were comparing 5 ideas, it'd be a 1 through 5. 6 ideas, a 1 through 6. The difference between ranking and rating is no 2 ideas can get the same number because you are literally putting them in order, like our little medals over here, okay? If all ideas are good for one of your principles, that's fantastic. But one of them's going to be better than the others, and one of them's going to be worse than the others. If all the ideas kind of suck for that principle, one of them's going to suck the least. So whichever one is the best, or sucks the least, gets the 1, the happy face. Whichever gets the sad face, the 3, is the worst. Doesn't mean it's bad. You're not giving it like a grade like an F. It just means it's the worst. So here's back to my decision matrix. Once you've done all the word part, the analyzing, you're going to start to assign some numbers. And you were going to look, before we did like rows, okay, you're going to look columns. So you're going to look at each of the ideas compared to the principle of comforting. And you're going to say, okay, which one's the most comforting, the best at comforting? Which one's the next best? Which one's the third best? And I give them these numbers. I would say that, the nightlight thing, that's going to be the most comforting, partly because it's hitting them on a couple different sensory levels. And then I would give the blanket thing a 2. And then I'd give the canary crib, I'd like a 3, because it could go sensory deprivation and be scary for some kids. Then we move on to our second column, the safety issue. I would give the tent thingy. I did this wrong. No, go back. Oh, I would actually give this a 1. That's a typo. That should be the 1 because the nightlight is going to be the safest. The blanket directly in the crib would get the 3 and be the least safe. And then the tent over it would be in the middle. That would get the 2. Then your third principle, routine. No. I would give a 1 to the nightlight. Second place would be the crib tent. Third place would be the blanket. And part of the blanket getting the third place to me is it would be hard as a parent to be like, oh, well, this calmed you down at night. You're having a tantrum now. I'm going to give it to you now. Then for the fourth one, again, I would give most calming to be the blankie, second most calming to be the sensory deprivation tent, and third most calming to be the nightlight thing. Then you're going to score them, and you score them all the way across. So you add up everything, pretty basic math, gets you a number. This works like golf. The lower number is, in theory, the better number. So This decision matrix is telling me that the nightlight thing is the objectively best solution for the principles that I have identified are important. Is that telling me that this is the thing to do? Not necessarily. You could have two ideas that tie. You could have an idea that you just, for your gut feeling is this is going to be the best one, and it's like second place or third place. But this gives you some information to work with. For example, I could look at this and be like, okay, you know what? I totally agree. I think this is the best, but hey, look, it scored really low here. What could I do to fix this score? I could do things like dealing with this, stimulating versus calming thing by saying, I could do some research into what wavelengths of light specifically calm people down versus engage your brain. Like blue wave patterns, I think, are supposed to engage your brain, which is why they say don't look at TV screens and computer screens. But some wavelengths calm you down. Ditto for music. Some tempos and patterns of music calm you down. Others energize you. So I could fix that low score by changing some things with this principle. You could also take good parts of different ideas and put them together. So your decision matrix isn't giving you the answer. It can if you want it to, but it's giving you objective feedback to help you pick the best decision for your solution. The end.